When a sliver of cold moonlight in the deep night of ancient Greece slanted across the hidden cave entrance leading to Cape Tinarum, the air was steeped in the faint scent of amber and the bittersweet crispness of sea mist condensed by the subterranean chill. At the end of a stone corridor shrouded in heavy shadows, where the distant murmur of the river Lethe could be heard, a man in linen robes, his eyes reflecting a profound sense of universal desolation, quietly opened his hands, his knuckles defined by years of plucking strings. He was not composing magnificent movements to praise the gods. Instead, upon a yellowed parchment, he traced a geometric mesh of loss with exquisite ink marks, as if calculating the velocity of a soul's descent. He was Orpheus, son of Apollo, the man who ventured alone into the realm of death to reclaim his late wife, only to be utterly destroyed by a single glance at the final moment. This is a story of how restraint erupts into power, and how solitude is transmutated into nobility. The genesis of Orpheus's life was imbued with a crystalline transparency unique to the Thracian highlands, a foundation of golden purple woven from harmonic laws and the rhythm of burgeoning life amidst the twilight of Apollo's music. As a youth with a near-pathological sensitivity to order, he inherited a microcosm that was ruthlessly cold, governed by melodic structures and the complex gambits of nature. Beneath rock walls reddened by starlight, he learned to use his lyre to perceive the essential structures lurking behind every vanishing point. This relentless pursuit of rational truth became the first incurable fold in his psyche, and the only armor that would guard his reality in a world of chaos. He understood that prosperity was not a boon granted by grace, but a sacred logic that grew naturally from an ultimate respect for natural laws and duty. If his early artistic career was the tempering of his will, then the stage known as the retrograde light, when he first stepped through the gates of the underworld for Eurydice, was the practical crucible that pushed Orpheus's aesthetics of will to its absolute zenith. Fate, in that endgame between life and nihility, dealt Orpheus the heaviest and most perilous stakes. He overthrew the prevailing violent methods of the era, resolutely offering music capable of shattering stars to the rulers of the abyss, even if it meant facing the total pressure of the laws of death within stone halls filled with suspicion and blood. In those quiet nights, through ruthlessly precise calculations of melodic fluctuations and soulful resonances, he issued silent commands that stabilized the order of the underworld. At that moment, Orpheus was the most sober and solitary artisan of the entire Mediterranean, standing like a marble bell tower, solitary and soaring, yet indestructible. The summit of power in the eyes of the wise is often manifested as the penetration of truth. Orpheus gradually realized that when he was finally torn between the fear of the forbidden glance and the ache of longing on that world-shaking path of the covenant, he obtained not just stability, but a nihility that saw through the rise and fall of all things. Within his study, scented with amber and piled with ancient Greek astronomical manuscripts, he silently observed the minutiae of the nobles who had once elevated or betrayed him. He discovered that grand heroic ideals, once thought invincible, turned into a fragility more powerful than any divine oracle when faced with the mirage-like sound of a breath behind him. This transition, from saint of music back to observer, was fraught with intellectual struggle, yet it endowed him with a cold, almost translucent peace. He wrote in a letter to a friend, "I once believed I was building a home, now I find I am merely searching for a point of convergence within the scarred fissures of marble, where the soul no longer falls." This expansive clarity became his hardest armor in the end. The final season of Orpheus was spent in a state of profound solemnity and a silence illuminated by the radiance of a sage. At the dusk of the mythic age, the rains of Thrace fell without a sound, washing the stone steps of the valley into a translucent, solemn gray. By then, the musician's body had become remarkably weightless from years of melancholy. His once majestic robes now hung loosely upon his slender frame. He understood that his golden era was drawing to its close with each slowing breath, and that he, the witness of order, would soon be buried in the dust of legend. In his final conscious moments, he requested time to lead him to the window, to listen one last time to the tides, a melody belonging to his inner self, with no audience but the void. He closed his eyes, tracing a final arc of completion across his chest. He left behind no vast family treasures, only the scorched benevolent wisdom that still glows after 2 millennia. His departure was like a magnificent concerto entering its final decrescendo, marking the official curtain call of the era of classical ideals in a steady resonant echo. Orpheus's story thus draws to a slow close amidst the fading whispers of the tides of the Tiber. He was never an opportunist who bartered his essence for fame. He was merely a weary soul who steadfastly refused to compromise with mediocrity. He teaches us that no matter how trivial your life or how deep your predicament, inner tranquility is your only true and eternal refuge. Just as he did during the coldest winter nights, guarding a flickering candle and searching for a fulcrum of existence within the void through his pen. Please believe that in every person's life, there is a path of no return. A private space for dialogue with a self that requires no outward explanation. May Orpheus's serenity and vastness become the softest feather in your dreams, carrying you to the farthest, most tranquil shore of the soul. Good night, and may sweet dreams be with you.